I mean, if we struggle to come up with three, even the fourth champion there, Ezekiel, he's going to be in amongst those greats now. When people mention African American champions, and indeed, I'd certainly like to see. Who can I even think of? I wouldn't like to see R-Truth with the belt, but I would no longer rule it out that R-Truth could have the World Heavyweight Championship. Anything now is possible. Anyone you thought could never have it probably could, seeing as Swagger now has it. Yeah, I definitely struggle to think of other black guys. Of course, we've got Shelton Benjamin on the roster. We got Darren Young. And what kind of chances would you say Darren has? I mean, I certainly could see him with at least a mid-card belt.
Yeah, I think he's got a US title bracket, Darren Young. Surprising, you never know. I mean, could be a good IC champ, but it's just the belts, they're not as relevant either, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, really, even the main titles, and you could see that at Mania as well, how the card was set, you know? They didn't really make that big title match atmosphere with both of them, you know. They were just kind of a little flash in the pan with the Divas match coming after one of them, and Taker and Michaels closing the show. I know it was the big story and whatever, but yeah, I think the titles need a bit more acknowledgement and need to be put over a lot more than they are, especially the mid-card titles like the IC title and the US title.
Those belts looking very overlooked at this point, and certainly not having most of those on WrestleMania was a disgrace. And indeed, especially the Intercontinental Championship, you would expect to see that on WrestleMania. I mean, that was just a ridiculous oversight. And to put in R-Truth and John Morrison versus Show Miz, not to bang on about it, but that was a ridiculous 30-second waste of time. They always manage to sneak something like that in there, and you, in most cases, would probably have preferred to see the dark match.
Yeah, even the big battle royale would have been better than that. I think no matter what you put on the card, probably would have been better than that. You know, even you know, a Kane squash match, I probably would have enjoyed it more, really and truly, to be honest.
Before we wrap up the podcast recording segment, we just want to get in some of the news stories. Of course, that tragic news story this week of the loss of Chris Kanyon. Chris Kanyon has unfortunately passed away, and World Wrestling Entertainment issued a statement concerning Kanyon's death yesterday on its company website. They said they'd like to express their deepest condolences to Christopher's family and friends on his tragic passing. He was under contract with WWE from March 2001 till February 2004, and hopefully on this week's coming Raw we might get a bit of a tribute.
Yeah, I doubt, you know, WWE with these things, they're very they can be pretty bad, but maybe they might be good with this one. And I was an entertaining character from what I saw of him back in the day, and sad, a young, still a pretty young guy, and another one bites the dust, and it's just quite sad to see, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk now about what the actual cause of death was, and indeed I wouldn't get into any speculation, fearing that it could be somehow inaccurate, but certainly it just boils down to the same thing. Another superstar lost. Of course, he had that Mortis gimmick, I believe, at one point, and indeed he was affiliated with the Sinister Minister, whose first name I forget, but certainly Chris Kanyon passing on, and indeed certainly a lot of speculation about the circumstances on that one at the moment. A lot of people interested in our discussion. Of course, everybody's saying that The Rock is black, and I suppose, yeah, I suppose I would take it as African American, but I guess, yeah, that's correct. Who else have we got? Outsiders. I'm not a racist, but I don't think I have liked a black wrestler. Well, it's fair enough. I mean, it's all opinion. Of course, Firesoul86 saying forget about Lashley. I suppose at some point Lashley was mentioned. Whether he had the belt, I suppose, is irrelevant. He was pushed a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah, I forgot about Lashley. That's a good call, actually. And look where he ended up, unfortunately. But yeah, the super big guys sometimes just do that kind of thing. And going back to early '80s, did Tony Atlas ever have a title in Israel?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, there would have been another one who was pretty well over. And I mean, a lot of those guys going back, they were really over, like Junkyard, Coco Beware. There's an endless list of them. So maybe it's having a title isn't exactly I suppose the B end of everything,
Yeah.
Because Coco Beware was huge, and those pops were crazy for the Birdman back in the day, and there's still quite a lot of talent even on TNA with people like Jay Lethal and Awesome Kong and stuff who were really over too. So I don't think it's a case of all the time being political or being racist, for not to use the word, when it comes to the brass in both companies, because they do get put over, I suppose, whatever. But there is a short list of big champions, I suppose, over the year, in a nutshell.
And two other big stories, news of two releases. Lance Cade, who was taken back recently, he's now been fired and released again. So certainly no Lance Cade upcoming in WWE. And the other big story being that of Chris Canyon's passing. That's it for the podcast segment. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube and Justin Live. Catch us on youtube.com/TheWrestleDope and also justin.tv/WrestleDope. Come to that on a Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific Standard and 8 p.m. GMT. That's at BST. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for your questions and staying around. We really do appreciate it.